Before I start, I want you to close your eyes and imagine what I'm about to say. You live in a happy home. You love running around in the sun, playing ball, going for a ride in the car, and all of the typical things that a normal dog would do. You love going for a ride, so when your family says let's go for a ride, you don't second guess it. You end up in a strange house or a strange place with strange people, sounds, and smells. You love new people, so it's not a big deal until your family walks off. You're confused, and then you're placed into a cold concrete and metal cage. Days, weeks, months, and sometimes even years go by until you find a new home. And sometimes you may not make it out alive. The lack of educated pet owners has a devastating impact on homeless pets, but here is how we can help decrease the effects of an animal being homeless. While I have worked hand in hand with rescue since 2006, I have seen the happy endings that have been put into place by the various actions put forth by volunteers and animal lovers alike. I am here today to share my passion and knowledge I have on the devastating effects of animal homelessness, and most importantly, how it can be decreased and eventually stopped. First, I will educate you on the physical and psychological effects, then the steps to reduce the homelessness, and lastly, how to better comfort the homeless animals. Let us start with some of my first-hand experiences. Emotional upset and physical distress is often seen with a homeless animal. I have seen several distressed animals as they come into the clinic and rescues. Because they are scared, their stomach is upset, and sometimes they refuse to eat. Weight loss and other health issues are common when they do not eat and their stomach is upset. There's also behavioral issues such as dogs growling, lunging, biting, and cats that will scratch, hiss, and attack. These are some stories that I have. Of my first-hand experiences with the homeless animals. This is Muggsy. He came from a shelter in Colorado that killed about 200 animals every day. Perfectly healthy, happy animals. This is one of the many cats that we get. Looking at her, she's scared, her eyes are dilated, her ears are back, and when trying to care for her, she would often try to attack us, so we had to wear thick gloves. This is Fluffy. She's been with us for 3 years, and as you can see, she's still distressed. Her home left her because her mom was sick, and so she was just kind of left to us to take care of. This dog, he was obviously very scared. He wasn't with us very long, luckily, but he wouldn't eat, and his stomach was very upset, so when he would try to eat, he would get sick. It is often the case that cats will hide in their litter boxes because they're so scared. They would rather hide in their own feces than confront the world. This cat was very aggressive, and you can tell because his ears are erect, and he was actually hissing in this photo. This is another case of a cat hiding in their litter box, very scared. Some other experiences that I had are with puppy mill dogs. They oftentimes refuse to eat because they're so scared, and they have no reason to trust us because they're so mistreated in the puppy mills. There was also a dachshund that had, his dad had to move, and he was placed with us, and he developed fear-based issues. He would lunge and growl and bite when we tried to walk him and spend time with him. The cats, as you can see, that we receive at the clinic are usually very aggressive. In the article, Physical and Behavioral Measures that Predict Cat Socialization in Animal Shelter Environment During a 3-Day Period, Slater, Garrison, Mill, Weiss, Drain, and Malakazinski in 2013 said that even the most loving cat and most socialized cat will turn very aggressive and almost monster-like because they're so scared. The steps to take to reduce homelessness include spaying and neutering your pets. Scarlett and Johnston, who wrote The Impact of Subsidized Spay and Neuter Clinics on Impoundments and Euthanasia in Community Shelters on Service and Complaint Calls to Animal Control in 2012, said that altering your pets have a direct effect on animals killed in shelters every year. Even if you don't plan on breeding your animal, and some people decide not to spay and neuter, accidents still happen. And when that happens, when puppies and kittens are born, usually about the same amount that are born are euthanized every year in shelters. So, if someone was irresponsible and didn't spay or neuter their animal, and 5 puppies were born, that means about 5 other healthy, perfectly healthy dogs or cats are killed in the shelters. Other things that we can do to help decrease the amount of homelessness, donating time and money. These simple things really make a big difference. Money and supplies allow the money that the shelter already has to be used to find the animals' homes. And fostering is a big deal. Fostering takes animals out of the shelter environment and allows them to find a home safely. And volunteering, playing with the animal is a big deal because when they're in the shelter, they tend to confine in themselves and they start getting those adverse reactions. Adopting instead of shopping for your animal. So usually people go to a breeder or to a puppy store, like a pet store that sells puppies. There are some pet stores that sell rescue cats, but they're not taking from breeders to sell, they're taking from shelters. Mohan Gibbons, Weiss, Garrison, and Allison wrote the Evaluation of Novel Dog Adoption Program in 2 U.S. communities in 2014. They stated millions of dogs end up in shelters every year, and only 25% find homes. So if you don't go to a breeder or to a pet shop that sells puppies, that decreases the demand for the breeding, and which will slow down the breeding, which will eventually stop dogs and cats going into shelters. Kinney wrote a local approach to a national problem, local ordinances as a means of curbing puppy mills production and overpopulation in 2014. 78 million dogs are owned in the U.S. every year, and only 21% of those are actually adopted. As I said before, volunteering and donating can give animals homes, but can also make the experiences better. Money will provide toys, food, medicine, blankets, spay and neuter, microchips, whatever they need. Donating supplies allows money to go to medical expenses such as spay and neuter. If there's a minor illness like kennel cough or something that's common, that can go to better use. And volunteering gives love and play to the animals so they don't become depressed and unhappy. By donating time and money and altering our animals and adopting instead of buying will greatly decrease the numbers of homeless animals. First, I explained my personal stories and experiences with these animals. Altering and adopting itself will greatly decrease by taking animals out of the shelters. And lastly, I talked about how we can make them more comfortable while they're in the shelters. Now that I've shared my knowledge and love on animal homelessness, I feel like it is another step in decreasing the numbers of homeless animals. One day with these steps and others, animals will not have to worry about being put down because of overcrowding or being homeless. Thank you.